map, I absolutely adore Chalet. Chalet is such a beautiful map. Almost every bomb site is viable in Chalet.
Yeah. Except for Master Bedroom, right? Just no one wants to play that one.
It's playable. But
People have tried it. So it looks like we are going to start on Border, actually. Unfortunate for the teams that might not be as strong on it. But that's what happens.
Yeah, so the mix-up was correct, like you said. Border will be Vitality's pick, and Clubhouse will be 1UP's pick. And again, 1UP showing that Clubhouse is something they're confident on, especially since they played EG. So going into the match, Dokubi's being pulled out by KS, which on this map,
He's just been doing it.
I haven't been seeing Dokubi at all. So it's interesting to see the Glaz Ying. We saw a couple of Latin America games yesterday on Border where they were playing the Glaz Ying and weren't having too much success because Glaz doesn't have that many angles and that much mobility to excel on Border.
Yeah, and this is one though where like Hungry is such a good Ying player that even if the Glaz doesn't go off, I feel like he'll still capitalize on his ability. But yeah, it is whether or not Rips can actually take advantage of what's going on as Hungry's going for that breach. Assuming they can get to that point. I mean, obviously this wall here is a good place to go for that Glaz Ying meta because you smoke in there and then blind everyone inside the lockers and then go for the Glaz pick, but...
Of course, but something that I'm finding interesting is I doubt Vitality themselves are going to be doing anything in CCTV or anything extravagant, mainly because they reinforce that back fountain wall. Now, most teams like to have that open because if you play in CCTV with a Mira, you're able to access and view all of Dome, and you can help a Crossfire have support if your teammate's inside B. But unfortunately, they reinforce all the back, so I wonder if they're going for a more original vanilla hold, playing a little bit more conservative in sight. They don't really have any C4s at play other than Mira and potentially Bandit. I'm not sure if he has a C4 out, but...
Imagine Mira will still do one of those, but will still only have access to the left rather than be able to use a soft wall to the right.
But it looks like they're going for old kind of feel, and it could always catch a team off guard, especially as the meta is evolving and new things are always coming. Sometimes it throws a team off when you bring it back to some original roots. So, but they aren't reinforcing Armory Wall, and they do have a Mirror there, so it might be interesting, but it looks like 1UP is going to be coming into play of them. Already,
Para taking down Void. That's a good start for them. We gave Para a lot of flack yesterday for his defensive plays, but his offensive plays have been pretty good so far. He was playing a lot of IQ yesterday. Going to be on the Ashe surprisingly today, and it's interesting that they didn't reinforce that wall at all. Speaking of what you're talking about with different tactics, just having that wall open so Para can open it up. But his job, since there's no buck, could potentially be go in and open up underneath. However, he only needs to open half wall, as it looks like they're going to go in for a different approach here. Hungry actually throwing in Candles from the window as Revan gets the phone call from KS. Smoke's going to go out, but he's still blinded, so hopefully that smoke did something for him. This KS is just waiting for someone to make some kind of move, holding that angle. Hungry going to rotate a little bit, but Panix takes down Veil, and that's a nice quick kill. This round going off to a nice quick start, only minute 30 in, 2 kills down. More phone calls off the bat. Unfortunately for Panix, he gets down, Rips finishes him off, pulling off that glass shot. Para jumps right on in between the lockers, goes for the shot behind the half wall. Can't seem to land the headshot for some reason. Still managed to stay alive though, thanks to Rips, take it down enemy and Revan. He's already on a 3K roll. Now it's just down to Rise to try and make something happen here and rise to the occasion. Unfortunately for him, he's surrounded on both sides. Can't quite find an angle. Rips gets a 4K for the round. Great finish for him.
Great shot.
Talking about maybe there are some angles for Rips in this case, at least.
I hear in Europe they call him the European Chris Kyle.
The European Chris Kyle.
Yep. Beautiful shots from Rips. They abused the fact that Vitality didn't reinforce the armory wall. They had, I believe it was Para, like you said, on the lockers window, and they had their Ying player, who I believe was Veil.
Yeah, Hungry.
He was on the archives window, and they swarmed it, so they weren't able to move or roam at all as the rest of their team. And like we were talking about, they didn't take or have any CCTV presence at all. So they were just able to swarm through and have easy access into the bomb site.
Yeah, it was definitely good. Good start for 1UP. I think Vitality probably not going to make the mistake of not reinforcing that wall a second time. That was a poor choice on their part. However, Rips obviously enjoying the 4K as a result of that. We'll see if that makes a difference in a future round.
Yep, and the castle's being come out to play as they picked the server bomb site. Now, we saw a little bit about it in previous matches yesterday that some teams prefer to take server mainly because it's a stronger bomb site for them and they can have more control over the map to get an advantage, especially since they're already up 1-0. If they get another 2-0 advantage, you know, momentum can carry, because momentum's a hell of a thing. But some teams also prefer to go downstairs, mainly because it's their weaker site, and if they can get a win right off the bat, they can steamroll through by getting their preferred bomb site, which is upstairs, which is one of the more basic ones.
I was just talking to Zoronic about that yesterday. It seems like that's less common now than it used to be. That was more of like a early year 2 or late year 1 kind of thing. But it would be interesting to see if that's what they're doing, because that is a more difficult bomb site to defend, but it's also not as bad as a lot of other secondary bomb sites.
Especially in the first couple of rounds, you want to try and pull out as much confusion as you can, since they don't have a rhythm on where you're going to be going. Usually once you get into the play, like, oh, their armory, if they win, they can't go there. If they lose, then they can go there. You can kind of get a feel for the pattern that a team is going to do. So in the beginning, causing as much confusion as you can, so you are able to get as much an advantage as you can, is usually a way some teams like to go, especially in a line event like this where every round matters.
And you see how much that does matter, because you're seeing them checking the cameras constantly to see what the actual approach is going to be. Yeah, they picked this bomb site first, but it doesn't seem like 1UP are exactly sure on how Vitality is going to approach it, because you can approach it 2 different ways. You can approach it split, or you can approach it start with one floor and attack the other. So like a lot of teams will play top floor first, as you see. For example, Panic's taking control of CCTV. They seem to want to clear roamers upstairs first, which can always be a risk, because you can lose a lot of people on that part. And then when you go to attack site, you're in a weaker position.
Yep. But it does look like Vitality is taking like a lot of position right off the bat. Now, neither of the teams have been putting any pressure in CCTV. I don't know if it is specific towards their strat, but they tend to limit their movement and give a ton of free position and try and hold as much as they can. Half of the time is already off of the clock, and they haven't lost much. Val has got a little damage, but as Vitality tries to push up, they're going to have to deal with the mirrors, they're going to have to deal with the roamers, but Void is going to pick up Val, but the trade is going to come out as KS picks up Revan with the C4. Para's going to shoot some shots up the stairs as Panix falls back, taking heavy damage, half HP on him, as 1 minute decides to start ticking down, and it's an even playing field. Nobody's lost much yet.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where it's mostly just about getting that top control. Bandit did have to bail, which meant they were able to get control of that room. Enemy does take down Rips, and so that is a disadvantage here for 1UP as they're losing some of their people upstairs. Rips managing to get back downstairs, unfortunately didn't do him any good when he still gets killed on the rotate. Para, though, managing to hold it kind of tight towards where they're going to potentially come down, hoping to catch one of them off guard as they go. Hungry, though, sticking it to the upstairs via the servers, does take down enemy, and that's a good trade back, as it is now a 3v2 in favor of 1UP with just 20 seconds left. That is 2 members of Vitality that are somehow going to make this push work. Para's going to make it hard for him despite getting that kill. A lot of smoke damage as well. 2 full health defenders versus 2 attackers. As I said, Hungry takes down 1, but KS gets traded for that. It is all down to a weak Hungry versus a little less weak Rise, who's going to have to go for the push now. It looked a little confused, but he's still, was that even a hip fire?
Oh,
that in there?
He tagged him. He almost got the clutch. They should have just stayed there. They had the mirror. They should have held a crossfire. Unfortunately, maybe some miscommunication. Beautiful pickup from Hungry. He was able to push in, and it was a second left. He should have just been hiding as much as he could, but unfortunately for them, again, miscommunication. It's going to even up the round, but KS did his best to bring the advantage down and keep it, and so did Para to keep consistency, but Vitality was just all over them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for 1UP, but again, as you said, that might be their secondary bomb site, so losing that isn't actually a big deal for them in comparison to Vitality going for their second attempt on the top floor. They're going to change things up, though. We're going to see a Rook, a Pulse, and a Mute, all different operators from last time. See if they set that up differently, like you were talking about what they were doing with the Fountain previously and things like that.
Okay, so right off the bat, Rise is opening up the walls, so hopefully they play in CCTV, because that's a big part of the map that you don't just want to give up, especially if you're going to be kind of baiting the armory wall. And like you said, they're bringing a whole new lineup pretty much, Pulse, Mute, so it looks like they're going to use the Mutes to stall as much in CCTV as possible. They got a read for what 1UP was trying to do in the previous attack, and I think now they're going to adapt to it as much as possible. But
looks like they still left that armory wall open as well.
Yeah, so I can completely understand that, especially if they're playing in CCTVs. They're not, no, they reinforced one wall, but that wall, especially if you're playing in CCTV, you can hold an easy crossfire, and if the teams go from the balcony or try and push, it's an easy pickup, because there's a crossfire. So they have to deal with CCTV in general to take anything in the map, unless they go from dome side, but that's going to be its own fight in itself.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where we may even see 1UP making some adjustments here. You see the Glaz over on the other side, this time on the typical Blackbeard AC spot, playing over that way instead. They could go for a smoke from that side. Like you said, they're really focusing on holding the CCTV. Got 2 players in there. Interesting to have the Rook in there, but he's actually going to rotate out as Para rotates underneath. I'm sorry, Para rotates underneath as that Ash that we were talking about last time, being able to potentially breach from below. But they're not doing like bandit tricking or anything. They could have a mute jammer on that reinforced wall, though.
Correct. But again, CCTV is one of those crucial spots. It cuts off so much rotations. And if a team, like we said, goes dome, it's its own battle. So good read from 1UP to be able to try and switch over and try and do maybe a quick plant. But Revan is there with the pulse and can sense that they're doing. The Dokkaebi calls will come out and a plant will go. But Revan saw 2 C4s come out. Both are going to miss. Perfect play from the Hibana that walked outside there, but Rips is going to get 1 kill as Para gets another. Hungry's going to pick up a knife kill, and Rips from the other side is going to get 2 pickups. Now, he's shown that Glaz is actually viable on this map.
Yeah, he's got it down. I'm surprised too, because we didn't necessarily see a lot of great fragging from Rips yesterday, but apparently you just hadn't found the right operator and map for him.
He's in the zone now. Again, European Chris Kyle. So he's showing up for his team right now, especially with those beautiful kills. And again, when you come into contest with a smoke, unless you get a lucky shot through it, most of the time it's not going to go in your favor.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, they also wasted 2 C4s on the floor. So
I mean, it was a good idea, but just the sheer amount of confusion and blinding that Hungry brought in there. Just really, there's smoke and flashes everywhere. And that's exactly why it works, just shock and awe, and that's why everyone's afraid of the Glazing meta. For exactly that reason, just the sheer amount of confusion. Rips just ripping up the scoreboard. 7 kills just between 3 rounds.
Showing up for his team right now.
That's great, especially considering yesterday he just hadn't done as much.
Yeah, and it was a good play from 1UP. We were talking about how CCTV is so crucial for a team to take if they even want to try and touch armor. But they just said, you know, you rely resources there and we'll go completely opposite across the map. They did it perfectly. It was a little worrying, but they had the Glaz, they had Rips to back it up, and they also had Hungry from the other side of the map on the Ying, pushing the Armory open wall that they left open after the fact and was able to cause a little more confusion. You saw he got a knife, so good on him. He was able to get a kill for his team, flanking and lurking.
I love how all 5 kills went down within like a good 10 seconds too.
Yeah, it just kind of broke down super quickly. But now getting into round 4, nothing too out of the ordinary. Ying's still out. Their team vitality isn't using Glaz as much as 1UP is. Maybe they don't have anybody comfortable on it, but they are playing the Zofia and Twitch. Twitch, undergoing the recent nerfs, hasn't seen as much usefulness, but she has increased in pick rate.
Still the mirror windows there, especially on this, especially if they're playing it differently than Vitality did, because they are going upstairs now. They did, this must have been their primary bomb site, and like you said, they were just doing the other one to start out with. Didn't work out, so they just switched back to their primary. They weren't forced to, but they definitely made that choice. Yeah,
unfortunately for 1UP, they're not putting any resources inside of CCTV, so it's going to be free and reign for Vitality to spread out. Vitality's been doing a great job so far on attack by spreading out and taking as much of a room as possible, and 1UP is just giving it to them. They're not worried. They're confident in their strat, they're confident in their holding, but Vitality's definitely been prepared for their take. It looks like the room is being limited right now for 1UP.
Yeah, like they're using the Hibana X Kairos to be able to open up some angles into the different rooms, kind of pressure both some of the office side as well as pressuring the Armory locker side. And I like that double pressure to make it so they can't just completely rotate one way or the other, or they're going to get hit from behind. So great plays by Rise to kind of help put that double pressure. You see all those walls open on the office wall there. They haven't completely tried to just take that room yet, but they don't know where they're going to attack from. 1UP are going to have to stay a little turtled and kind of react as they come.
Yeah, but again, they're confident, and Vitality, their time is limited right now. They have a minute left. They haven't been able to take any extra position other than what's been given, and Rips' Bandit is, you know, ready to stop whatever they're trying to open. They're just trying to cause as much chaos as possible. They don't want to let 1UP see into what their push is going to be doing, but they are set up for more of an armory take. They have a lot more reinforcements down there, and it's not looking bright for 1UP right now, especially since they've given so much room.
Yeah, we've got Ying going with the Candelas and the flashes here. Hibana had opened up the wall just a little bit. Enemy pushes on him, but unfortunately right into the bullets of Rips. Void does take down KS though in a nice trade as Panics gets Para, and the team starts falling as the push comes in. 22 seconds left. More running in. Rips takes down, Rise takes down Rips, sorry. Gets traded by Hungry, then Vale gets Void. It is all down to a 2v2. As I say that, Panics gets taken down by Vale, and now all on Revan to try and hold this out on the Twitch to try and make this push happen. He doesn't have the diffuser at the moment. He's going to have to go in to get it, but he tries to go for a nice pick and gets him down along with the downed player for a great finish for Vitality to bring this back.
Yeah, nice play from Revan right there, winning the 1v2. Vale tried to even the man count, and he was able to bring it for an advantage for his team, but great individual play from Revan. Unfortunately, there was no team help for either of the last two final players, but Revan for sure did his best to isolate each individual battle as best as he could. And like we were talking about the Twitch, she doesn't need her drone to be useful in this meta.
No, that FAMAS F2 is just a death machine when used well. But obviously opening up some windows before you start opening fire is a great way to go.
It's commonly one of those jokes where someone says, "What's your favorite operator?" and they say, "Oh, my favorite operator is the F2 FAMAS." You know?
That's right.
Her gun is a monster in itself.
There's quite a few guns like that in this game that are definitely very useful. It's always interesting to discuss about KS playing Dokkaebi, for example, because the DMR is such an interesting main primary. We don't get much of a choice. Your secondary is a close-range SMG, and that's definitely a little bit different from what you're used to in terms of operators. Even Blackbeard has a actual, like the Scar as his primary as opposed to just the DMR. I mean, I guess the exception is Glaz, of course, which is all DMR.
He's a sniper, but her DMR in itself is really good. Does a huge amount of damage, and her, like you said, the secondaries, even though they are secondary, they're both very strong, very high rate of fire. It's one of those things where if you're in a close range battle and need something, it's really useful, but any other situation or range, you're going to want to use her semi-auto. But again, just like Rips was showing us how Glaz is useful in super close situations, Dokkaebi is just as useful, and 1UP seems to enjoy their DMR rifles.
Yeah, I mean, that gives them a lot of damage and high power, along with the chaos caused by Hungry, and then Vale coming in with that high-powered rifle as well. Just doing a lot of damage really fast. We saw how fast the round went down last time because of that. So this is the third attempt to defend this bomb site coming out from Vitality, who have yet to successfully do this. As you said earlier, focusing a lot on CCTV this time, setting up that mirror window, facing down the hallway towards the east stairwell, just trying to make sure they have all their bases covered. But last time what we saw from 1UP was just set up, set up, set up, kill everyone in 20 seconds.
Yeah, the Vitality has the right idea, and they also have Riven in a perfect spot to call what's going on, but it doesn't look like the team moves at all. You're going to see some rotations by Void and Rise coming over, but again, they're kind of leaving Revan alone, and Rips is just set up with the Glaz. If there's a Glaz smoke, there's going to be no push. You really have to rely on the C4s, and especially if you're just chucking C4s at a brick wall, you know, great communication from 1UP to know when the C4s are coming out, but one of the logic bombs is going to go off to call some phones as Para comes up the main stairs and picks up Panics, getting the advantage for his team. And he's doing a really good job right now roaming. And like you said, yesterday he didn't play that great, but now he's showing that he's comfortable now.
Yeah, they're definitely making up for lost time. Intel coming out here from Revan. He's going to be able to act on it, unfortunately, for 1UP as they lose Para, but it's quickly traded by Rips. That Glaz never letting anyone die in vain. Unfortunately for him, the C4 takes him out from enemy, and there's a quick 2K from Hungry as he pushes it on in, and there's the fall again. Yet again, with another 20-second massacre there as it gets finished off by Vale.
Yep, again, we were talking about the C4s. It was able to pick up Rips, but unfortunately for them, the bomb is always going down. Revan was focused on the Ash below. I mean, good kill from him. He was trying to rotate, but they were able to get the bomb down. And again, like you said, Hungry, coming from the other side as a flank, was able to pick up two, and they're not noticing him at all, and they're leaving him to do what he wants. And I'm not a fan of their play. They're letting 1UP take all of the site. They're investing so many reinforcements and everything in CCTV, which they should, but once the call, they have a pulse there, able to scan everybody. I don't understand why nobody's rotating at all, and they're just sitting inside of Armory and letting Revan deal with 4 members all on his own.
I feel like the pulse is a little more focused on the downstairs than he is on the upstairs, and that's just giving lack of intel to the rest of his team. So far, I think, if I remember correctly, we've seen nothing but attack wins. In this case, Rips 9 kills at this point, just continuing to pad his stats with his Glaz play. But we've seen a lot of kills from Hungry there as well. We saw a nice 2K from him last round, just right in a row. We'll see if they can continue that. I would like to see one of these teams find a way to win their defenses so we could actually see it swing one way or the other. But at the moment, 1UP are on the lead because they started on attack first.
Rips is showing up for his team. Again, he is the point man. He is the first contact. He protects the bomb planter. So, of course, if someone's going to push through a smoke, he's shooting them first chance he gets. Now, a lot of Glass play has been being played, and it's been so well, especially on LAN. All these players at top, they're at their top momentum right now, and the flicks that people are hitting are insane. But again, like you said, Hungry, just because one player is doing well doesn't mean the rest of the team isn't doing well. Hungry playing the lurk role, he's roaming. He's coming in for the flank at perfect times, picking someone up, causing more confusion for the team that's supposedly unexpecting it right now.
Yeah, I feel like both teams do this long setup and then just pounce at some point.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing with a Ying in play here. But it seems like neither team has been able to get a lot of early picks that kind of straggle things out a little bit and make the teams a little more asymmetrical. It seems to be coming down to those last-minute fights every time.
Yeah, but it seems to be because we were talking about how both teams kind of hold a spot more of a vanilla play style, and they don't overextend. They just hold it as much time as they can. Now, one of the teams has to realize that they have all this room to play with. Like, Vitality is realizing that they have all this room, but they're not pushing, they're not taking anything. They're not abusing the fact that 1UP is not aggressively peeking anything. They're giving them room. They're saying, here, play with this, but once you guys push us, we're going to be having a gunfight.
Yeah, and it is coming down to all those gunfights and utility uses right at the last second. Seen some little last-minute adjustments here from KS, deciding to put up a mirror now. I feel like that's them adjusting to where they feel like the attack might be coming from. And that's the nice thing about carrying those late-round mirrors and deciding, okay, you set up a one primary one, and you keep your secondary one to make a last-minute decision on where you really want to focus that defense. And there's a good old throwing the grenade over the little overhang thing that we see a lot with either cameras or grenades. A lot of utility, and you see your Void gonna hopefully catch someone. There he goes. Panics actually with that kill onto KS. And that's a good start, taking out the Mira. Rip's already almost down himself. Very low health at this point. He's gonna have to play it smart. Probably not a lot of time for a reset with the attack going down. 1 minute left here. You see Para running around, trying to figure out how to rotate around using those impact nades. He had a nice little set of holes here set up to try and help him do something from below, but unfortunate for him, no one over there as Revan takes down Vale. This is going in the favor of Vitality yet again. An attack potential win here, but it's going a lot slower than we've seen before. 1UP still have a chance to bring this back. Diffuser starting to go down now. Para finally making use of his rotate area down there. Takes down that Revan, who was the clutch previously. Drones going out here as the attack slows down. They try and figure out where everyone's playing at. Para's still trying to do work from below, but he's going to have to rotate up soon as he doesn't have anything like a C4 down there to be able to do anything. Hungry on the shotgun, trying to play into a smoke. Unfortunately for him, Void finds his head, and then Rips finally gets finished off as well by Void. All down to Para, who's completely off-site against 4 with the diffuser going down. This is not looking good for Para at all. He's got to get all the way upstairs within the time just to defuse, let alone fight 4 people on the way to get there. Pre-fire is unfortunately not going to help him. Instead, just going to give away his position. He's actually trying to bait some people out, take advantage of that 40-round magazine, and he does. Someone else hits one of his own mines, it looks like, and Void gets a 3K for the round to finish it off for another attack win. Yeah,
I believe at the end there was a Zofia charge. They knew exactly where he was, and Void just coming up from the back, getting the 3K. Great kills from him. He really opened up the site, and again, I'm not a fan of this playstyle. They're giving up so much room and then not expanding, not doing anything. Vitality played well to isolate them. It keeps going back and forth. It's not an ideal situation.
Like you said, map control really heavily going over to the attackers every time is allowing them to execute on their actual strat once they get into the position. You see them stop kind of near where they're going to actually do the take, start doing a lot of droning, get everyone's position, and then just execute the take. Yeah. Because you said they're giving up that map control. They're not having to do flank watching as much. They can focus on drone intel of the site.
Exactly, and like we were pointing on, KS made a perfect move and a mid-round call that I'd like to see Vitality do on defense, where he had the mirror left, put it inside the archives wall, but he didn't contest anybody with it. He was seeing people run inside Dome, and he had a teammate in Fountain, but they weren't doing anything. Again, they're not aggressive. They're letting things play out. And unfortunately for them, they had the nade ready. Panics was there for the movement, and they picked up the kill. That's the first opening kill. It's KS, one of the impact fraggers on their team right now, who keeps trying to even the odds. And it looks like a really attack-sided game.
And I feel like some of that came down to Para being downstairs too long. He did get that extra kill, but when it came down to him at the end downstairs, he was completely ineffective. I like what he was trying to do with using the floor. Once it wasn't working, I think he needed to rotate up a little bit earlier, just because his teammates needed his help, because they actually slowed down the attack enough to be able to counter push it, but they just weren't in a good position due to lack of manpower because of KS getting picked off early.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, those holes that you were talking about were on the other side of the archives wall. So if a Thermite wanted to open it up right next to where KS was playing, it would have worked. But unlucky for them, they actually just opened up the mirror and they got the first 2 picks right off the bat. So, but Rips again in this powerful position that he's always been. He's using a smoke, so I feel like he's going to be trying to bait out as they approach the other site. He's just trying to cause some rotation and cause some room, which looks like what he's going to be doing. But again, the rest of his team is right behind him. So looks similar, and Revan needs to make a call once he's spotted everything.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of droning at this point, it looks like, just trying to get some idea how they want to approach it, seeing if there's any rotations, like you said, now that the Glaz is in play. Revan, like you said, on that pulse as well, trying to get some intel for his team so that both teams just trying to feel out which side should we dedicate our resources to, playing a little bit of mind games. But now the wall starting to get opened from offices is going to make it a lot harder for him to sit in this position. You see his antsiness as he tries to make a call on how to move.
Ooh.
Unfortunately for him, cannot see those legs there. Well done by, I believe that's, is that KS, the Dokkaebi, or the Veil on the Habana?
KS on the Veil's on the Habana. And it's a cheeky little spot. They can't see him. I don't know if the gun's going to be able, and they have shots from Fountain coming out, but the phone are going to be rung. Dokkaebi is trying to call them all, but no push has been out yet. And again, Revan's in this beautiful spot with the pulse scanner. If they're not suspecting, a C4 is going to come over, blow them to shreds, but is he going to be spotted by Veil, as Veil is wary of the roam? And again, he should be. There's nobody on the east stairs, nobody watching any of their flanks. And again, I don't know if it's this European meta, but just these 2 teams specifically, they're playing very passive and not expecting for anything.
Yeah, I feel like once it comes down here to Para and Rips pushing from another side, if KS can manage to do something with his low health, this is all going to come down to the Pulse trying to make something happen with those C4. Does not happen as Veil takes down enemy to start with, and there's Glaz. Unfortunately missing a shot there. Rips just not getting the tag he wanted, but there's another nice kill as Veil takes down his second on Panics. All starting to fall apart here as the attack commences. Diffuser has already been planted. Revan's going to try and make this run out happen. Unfortunately for him, Veil gets a 3K on there. Hungry going for Void, and Hungry with the nice kill on the jump out. Good attempt there at the end, but unfortunately it was just yet another massacre to the end of a round. We're seeing time and time and time again. What is that? 7 rounds of this basically at this point.
They're just isolating situations, and Revan's not landing the C4. And it's not just all on him. Again, Hungry in the beautiful locker window. It's really an underutilized place. They're on both windows, cutting off rotations. Rip's in a great spot. You can't push a smoke. They have to use some sort of utility to get rid of the plant, or play super aggressive or straight off the rip, and they won't be able to get into these safe positions. Now, both teams playing equally as well in frag-wise, but you do see the 2 playmakers right now, Rips and Hungry, standing their own. But again, the support player, Veil, who is on the Habana, mostly Habanas, and the last round he got 3 kills defending the bomb in his little corner.
He's definitely playing his position well. Obviously, they kind of played into it as well, but he was doing a good job cross-firing stuff and keeping it so that they had little ability to rotate around. Now, we're actually seeing 1UP go back to their secondary bomb site, deciding, you know what, the top floor isn't working after trying that twice. This is their second attempt at the downstairs. If it continues to go attack, 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 then mathematically, whoever gets attack first in overtime will actually have the advantage to win, just because they'll get 2 attack rounds in.
Correct. They're going to have to break us like away from the pack. This is their first chance in this best-of-3 series that 1UP is going to have an opportunity to take the first map and get the rematch against either EG or play against the previous team of KS, Penta. So, but again, nothing too crazy. Like you said, they're going back to the same site. It looks like they have the similar play style, but they're going to have to make something different here.
Yeah, I imagine just after losing the top ones, they're going to try a little bit of a tweak on what they were trying to do previously when they defended down here. But I feel like what you said before about them just giving up too much map control, they're playing a little too turtle.
Yep.
I think it's working against them because they're not able to deny enough intel to really be able to, when the push comes down, do something about it. Because those Ying plays, it's funny enough that we're seeing two different styles but working with the same end result.
Yep.
Yeah, both of them involve Ying, but one involves Glaz and the other involves mostly Twitch push-ins with a little bit of Zofia as well. The Buck doesn't seem to be doing as much, I suppose. We're not seeing a lot of kills from Voy. But it's a situation where he also is opening up some flexibility. See, for example, him opening up the hole to push on into office. And again, giving up that map control, not contesting a lot of this top floor just yet. But they will be contesting, I imagine, over on the Armory Lockers side. Like I said, giving up CCTV is a little risky. However, when it's a split defense like this, you kind of have to.
Correct. And again, kills aren't the only thing that matter. Voy opening up holes, and he did have that huge round that secured him a victory where he got that 3K pushing in. But again, like we were talking about, the room is just being isolated, and Vale's going to pick up a kill on Revan as Panics is going to trade out Para, but Rips is going to get one on Rise, and that's Twitch and Habana down. As enemy's going to rush in, and Jaeger isn't suspecting as Vale goes down, and they have the upstairs control, but unfortunately the bomb is downstairs, and there's only a minute left, and they haven't really lost much. You know, they're going to have to make a play onto the bottom floor, and something that Vitality's doing really well is, like we said, expanding to the situation, but once they get into contact with 1UP, it kind of seems like a stalemate, and it's usually results in a gunfight to win a situation.
In a situation where Rips is actually still upstairs, surprisingly. Managing to hold this off. If he can stay alive long enough, he can burn enough time. And that kill is going to start. That drops the diffuser.
Oh!
That's a second one. Diffuser still sitting up here with just Void to pick it up.
Rips.
That is the first offensive win thanks to Rips, who is just dominating this match.
Yep.
He is just playing to the top of his tier, and that is going to be good half as it goes 5-3. Map number 1 going over to the 1UP contenders here.
Yep.
Not looking great for Vitality, but this is certainly not a 10-2 like we saw against Penta.
Yeah, they are putting up a fight, and again, 1UP isn't Penta, but 1UP has been playing insane. Rips with a beautiful 3K. There's been a lot of 3Ks. Rips, Voy, KS, both, I believe, Hungry too, also got 3Ks, confirming their match. Now, again, that I believe it was one of the first. That was the first attack round that was won.
The first defense round that was won, yeah.
Defense round, my fault.
But that was the tiebreaker kind of thing.
The tiebreaker, and like we said, they needed to do something different, and they did. They played super aggressive. They didn't take the position and just kind of stall and waited. Of course, the man count was being traded equally between Vitality and 1UP, and Rips was just able to make it happen. Vitality, again, like we were saying, they kind of take the position that's given, and then once they're face-to-face with the enemy, they kind of stall and frizzle out, and their flame just wasn't hot enough to burn 1UP.
Yeah, and I'll give credit to Rips as well, because technically that's a situation where a lot of times you'll see that last person rotate back to site, kind of take, you know, their 2 kills and leave it at that.
Yep.
Like, oh, we got our 2 kills, we'll be fine. Let's just go back to site and try and defend it, keep all our man count advantage, because 3 on site is pretty strong down there if you can keep them alive after getting 2 kills like that. But the fact that he stuck it, and I mean, that could have gone either way, but they played right into him, hiding like tight against those lockers like that.
Yep.
Just, I mean, that was a great finish for him to get that just massacre on them as they pushed him. I don't think they expected him there. Nope. And then once he got to that first kill, they knew they needed the diffuser, so they figured, oh, we'll just push him aggressively, hope we can get that kill on him so we can get that diffuser back for our final execute.
Correct. Most people would opt to run back. I know the NA scene is very kind of give and go, and they were playing a lot more passive, and that's why Rip's playing this aggressive situation where the man count was even. He could have gotten out, but he didn't. He played, stuck his ground, and it ended up going well for him. If it wouldn't have, then, you know, it would have been something that, unfortunately, would have not been nice to see, but fortunately for them, Rips was able to make something happen. So.
Yeah, and as you said, they were turtling up way too much, so I think that was just what needed to do to break it, just change up. But thankfully, we're going to go to Clubhouse here, so we're going to see a little bit of different style action, I imagine. Hopefully this is a map that Vitality can bring it back a little bit more, or maybe we'll see a little more back and forth. This is going to be a little more defensive-sided, at least on Arsenal.
Yes, yes, yes. We did see 1UP play against EG on this, and not many of their talents were expressed, especially against EG. EG kind of did well. And nothing too crazy is going to be coming out. Again, Ying is being played a lot, especially on this map specifically. She's so good. Her smokes, the tight close quarters. I wouldn't be surprised if enemy brings out a shotgun for the tight close quarters. But what I believe 1UP is trying to counter with is they're going to use kind of a lesion to stop as much rushing as possible. And there isn't a Thatcher on the field or Twitch. So it's going to be rough for them to get rid of Legion. So KS is really going to do well in a situation like this.
Yeah, we saw him yesterday in this situation doing it quite a bit with it. He wasn't always playing Legion depending on the map, but this is one where he was very successful with it.
Yep.
We even saw some clutches against Glass from him on that Legion, which was a little surprising against Necrox. So I expect good things from him, like you're saying, not just in trapping people and slowing down the push, but also in getting good intel to know how to quick rotate and counter the push, something we were talking about not happening as effectively on border for those attacks.
Correct, and something that's very unique to see is when teammates are so comfortable with each other's roles. That's how you individualize a good player and a good team player and a good player, is the fact that Vale and KS both playing, I guess you could say, supportive roles. I know KS plays Dokkaebi and some aggressive roles, but he's not really the entry fragger. That's mostly Para. So KS is kind of put on a supportive role. Hungry is usually on one of the aggressive lurk roles, but he's going to be playing Smoke here, which is one of the more passive support roles that you would like to see in Sight. So you have full utilization of smokes. And now there is some roaming smokes. We saw a couple yesterday, but usually smoke is best used inside of Sight. And Val, who is a support player all around, is going to be taking the mirror off of KS, so KS is able to abuse all the experience that he's gotten from from Penta and LAN experience, and he's gonna let KS kind of thug it out with the Vitality team.
Yeah, something we thought was funny yesterday is we're used to seeing KS on a mirror role, but on Oregon he plays mirror the whole time.
Yep.
But on this map he goes for Legion. Maybe he's just channeling Fabian to call out to the previous team. But yeah, and we also see some we've seen some aggressive smoke plays from Hungry actually working out for him. Just he's able to land the frags with kind of the guns that aren't necessarily the typical like high-end rifles and things like that.
Correct. He opts to use more limited rifles as Rips gets a nice shot through the floor onto Void. And like we were saying, the buck isn't being used too much from either team, but that hole is made. But Rips is still playing super aggressive. He knows he's comfortable in this situation. I believe they might have some Legion traps on the stairs to kind of limit Vitality's push.
It also gives him the intel he needs to know when to push the stairs.
Exactly. So I wonder if Rips is going to be challenging anytime soon. He's kind of just wasting time, and they're not doing much. But these these lifeline shots might kind of, you know, push him a little back and scare him a bit. But he's still standing strong.
There's the Candelas coming out. His enemy is going to start the push going on here. Unfortunately for him, Revan not able to follow it up just yet. Seems a little scared to push down the stairs. They're still trying to take that top control, turn it into something downstairs. But so far, not making a lot of progress on that, as Panics is really wanting to drop down into blue here. Just can't quite find the angle on him. More shots coming down as they start to make the push. Revan trying to get down these stairs. Hungry actually opening up an interesting hole down on the floor there. Smokes have come out. He is down to his last one after throwing two. Trying to delay this push for Moto as best as he can. He does have Para here in Church as well to try and help stall that push. Unfortunately, Rise can't seem to find the angle he needs. We're going to see the rest of the push trying to come around the other side. Nice shot there by Enemy. Unfortunately, Hungry was just a little far back, but there is more Candelas to come out here. Thankfully, there was a little bit of Rips' ADS to try and stop it. Flash is coming out for Panic as well as he drops into blue, goes around for the push. Nice attempt on the mirror, but thankfully, KS is there to back him up. Para also there to back up in Church. He finally gets traded by Revan though, and Hungry finishes off Revan. Try and trade it back now. It's all on Rise, as we've seen before. This time, Vale finishing him off just like last time Rise tried to make that clutch.
Yep, and we were talking about how everyone on this team is so comfortable in each other's roles, and they didn't really open anything. Again, this map is kind of backwards if you take into consideration that usually there's not much roaming done. So all the aggressive players, all the roaming players who you would normally see roam on a map such as Oregon border are forced to kind of play in sight, so they opt to use more utility-wise operators such as Legion, potentially a Vigil, which we see coming out, stuff to stall, maybe a good gun, but nobody's taking that many gunfights in a map like Clubhouse.
Yeah, you really need them to play into you a little bit. So the turtle style we saw on border is a little more appropriate for this map, but it'll be interesting to see if that the Vigil from Revan actually plays it. We saw actually some roam plays yesterday on Oregon, on Clubhouse, which was a weird surprise, and that they would actually castle up a lot of the top floor, or the middle floor, and just kind of hang out up there, play the Vigil sometimes on the stairs, just kind of mess with them a little bit. So it's possible we could see a little bit more of that today. I mean, he's got to do the reinforcements first, so no telling if he'll stay upstairs, but...
Correct, I completely agree, and Rips, again, picking Glaz, I like to see that the European meta is favoring more Glaz than the Latin America meta, where it's been said that a lot more Latin American teams love using Glaz, as opposed to European teams like to be a little more methodical rather than, oh, we'll put all our hope into a smoke and hopefully we get some shots through. But Rips showing that he's consistent with that sniper rifle. Again, the European Chris Kyle. Now, I believe they're going to try and make him go through dirt, but Revan's going to be roaming up top, so if they're not paying attention and not careful and not droning efficiently, he's not going to get spotted and get like a beautiful, probably a really good flank later in the round.
What's interesting is he can take advantage of when he times to use that ERC. So, for example, if he stays off of it right now, he won't give away that he's anywhere near, but in the case he's turned it on, so now that they know he's nearby, Para kind of looking for him. Unfortunately, gave away his position doing that. Probably didn't need to shoot that drone.
The drone was not facing towards him, so again, he's still hiding, but Para's on the IQ. Now, IQ, I believe, is able to see Vigil when he goes into his cloak zone. So if they send a drone attempting to bait Revan right now, it would be nice for Para.
Yeah, unfortunately, Para got off of his scanner just in time to miss that information, like you were saying, because he turned that back on. Para just looking right at the moments he wasn't using it, but he does know that this rotate hold means he's probably going to come out of it at some point, as it's the only safe way out of here, unless he's going to push right back downstairs. So Para, unfortunately, again, using it after he turned it off.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate timing.
I think he might have spotted him for a second, but the 1UP team is just taking their sweet time, and time's ticking down, and now Revan's already done all of the stalling he needs to do. If he needs, like, he doesn't need to do anything else. He could die right now and it would be great for his team. They're going to use so much utility on him. Para's going to be fully blinded, and Hungry's going to run in. I guess Revan was also fully blind. He just gets a nice sweep blade, but he's already wasted so much time. They have a minute left. I believe hatches are open, and they got to go for a quick push with the limited time that they have.
Luckily, we've already seen that for the most part. And I love this counter pulse play. We saw this from yesterday, trying to shoot a Canadian through the floor and actually getting a few hits. He's just the perfect counter to pulse playing down here when it's not predictable. He's just hoping for the headshot and gets enough damage to not even hit the head. That was well played. Unfortunate for Panics. He probably should have known as he's getting shot that maybe there's a reason why.
Yeah.
He doesn't get any kind of indicator that IQ's following him.
It's something that you don't pay attention to as a pulse. It's happened to many people before, and the pulse is usually expecting to be the only one to scan anything. But time is dwindling down as the Yings are going to come out from Hungry, protecting his teammates, but the enemy team is in dirt, and they're sitting pretty as Veil tries to get a bomb plant. Nobody's contesting anything. Time is ticking down. The diffuser is being planted. Rise an enemy, I don't believe, no, but KS is going to get a huge double kill, and Hungry's going to get enemy coming out of the dirt tunnel, cleaning up that round for his teammates, and Veil was planning the bomb. He didn't have to do anything. Like, nobody was contesting him. I don't believe they knew that he was in.
Yeah, that was a nice play by them. He actually picked a different spot. Usually people do it behind the shelf. I think he decided to take advantage of the reinforced wall and the smoke that was there and the chaos to actually plant it in a more unconventional spot, so that if there's any kind of counters that came out, they weren't going to hit him. Plus, he was going to have the protection of the wall from any kind of flanks on that side.
Correct. I think they knew there was someone in dirt, and like you said, it was probably a great call. KS said he was going to drop down blue and kind of deal with the situation back right armory instead of dirt. So it was great play from him to be able to drop down, got 2 quick kills, and then the player inside of dirt, who would have been able to see Veil planning in that default spot that you were talking about. And it was just great communication, great placing from all of them right now, or in that round.
1 kill by Revan so far across 2 rounds. This is not looking very good for Vitality to make it to map number 3 at this rate if they can't turn it around. 1UP, however, on the weaker bomb spot now, so if there's going to be any round for Vitality, this is the one to take.
Correct.
To get those early points.
If there's a time to come back, it's this round. This is the breaking point for them.
Absolutely, and this is a team that really struggled yesterday as well against a team that really didn't struggle as much in terms of what they were up against. We are seeing Void make an interesting adjustment. He's going to try the Glaz out, maybe a little jealous of Rips, or maybe it's just, hey, we're going for a stock take, so we kind of need this.
Yeah, Glaz is usually more favored towards the bar take rather than downstairs. A lot of teams do prefer him on downstairs and both, but for bar, there's so many situations where he's useful. If you go into a strip take, open up the wall, he's he's easily going to have so much advantage in view over the rest of the site while someone's planning. If you go stock, it's nice to have a quick smoke. There's limited viewing. Your teammate plants in the smoke. You have Glaz watching over you. So Clubhouse is one of those maps where unless you can get an aggressive pick and hold a position, you have to play retake, especially against a Glaz who is hitting all of his shots.
Yeah, in a situation where there's just enough long angles for him to take advantage of. But he's going to actually rotate around, trying to decide how he wants to play this. So it's interesting to see this flexibility. I'm not sure that they've completely decided which side they want to take, but it's looking so far like they want to go for a strip club push.
Yeah, and again, KS on the Legion. Legion's one of those operators that you don't see much play, but especially on maps like Clubhouse where there's limited mobility, Legion's Yun is actually very great. It's super, it has a good fire rate, does good damage. If you can hit heads, it's absolutely a melt machine. And his Legion traps, for a team that isn't suspecting them, and usually teams aren't, it's really good to catch someone off guard, especially if you get stung while you're trying to plant a diffuser, or for a push, it stalls everything for a couple of seconds for them to pull that needle out of them.
And you can see exactly what KS was doing there. He threw that needle down exactly where a lot of teams go for the plant, and the ability to deny that plant, because if they run on that to go for the plant, they're going to have to spend a good few seconds pulling the needle out first, and that's more than enough time for the Smoke of Hungary to take them out, or even some kind of C4 if Bandit has C4.
Completely agree, but again, Vitality doing what they were doing in last map. They take the position that's given, but then they are sitting at a brick wall, and they're not playing to their potential that we've seen them do. They're stalling out and waiting for something to happen, waiting for someone to fall in their lap. They're not playing aggressive. It looks like maybe they're a little intimidated by the team, but they're not making any plays that'll get them an advantage.
Yeah, we see the defenders fully able to move around, like I said, because of the lack of aggression. And there goes Vale to start out with Panics at least getting one kill here on that top floor. The other top floor roamer, Para, is actually still alive, though. So this is going to be something where Panics can't sit safely in there. So he decides to move back out. And Para is actually down on the main floor, had rotated out, which is surprising for me. But there goes the push there. Enemy trying to push as hard as he can, but right inside the Smoke of Hungary, making it difficult to do so. Rise just goes for the stick to plant. Para gets that kill into Panics to get revenge. Get upstairs. Smoke kill from Hungary. It is all down to a 3v4. One up at the advantage. Diffuser has not been planted yet. 10 seconds. One last Candela going out there as Thatcher tries to do something to clear it out. He is going to clear out at least that Legion Mine that was placed there earlier, but Rips gets a nice 2K, and Hungry there to finish the job as Smoke. At least a 2K for him as well. Well executed, like you said, just a much more aggressive defense versus a very, very slow passive attack.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort. Panics was upstairs. I would have liked to seen more utility used out of him to try and push the defenders that were sitting right next to the half wall. Unfortunately for them, they didn't, and 1UP was super set up with all their utility. They had the Legions, the Smokes. I believe Bandit had a C4 too, and they had the Ella watching all the front doors, so there was absolutely no way for them to contest anybody there. They were able to down, I believe it was KS, through the smoke, but he already used his utility, his Legion traps, and they were able to stop some. The Smokes downed. Hungry played a beautiful role, kind of a Peyton Manning. He was throwing his smokes from across the room, and they were landing. Now, it's looking grim for Vitality as 3 of the members are not doing well, and Panics and Revan only have 1 kill. Now, we saw Panics did get that early kill, but I felt like it was a little too late in the round. There was 30 seconds. They had to push, and it's a trend that's happening where they're stalling out into the last couple of seconds, and then they're not able to make something happen.
And in this case, when it was taking control of the top floor in the last 30 seconds, he didn't even use that top floor control. He didn't have a buck or anything there to actually open up the floor and use an angle downwards on there to, like you said, to counter the smoke and some of those other Peyton Manning plays. Because of the lack of that, like you said, without the control of the front door, no way to counter it. They had a chance. If they had just taken out that top floor earlier, they would have also probably, in the process, killed Para upstairs and had a little bit more of an advantage to be able to play that. But that indecision on where to attack, how to attack, is really what cost them that round.
Of course, and Vitality isn't playing aggressive. They are going to pick out the Legion, try and give KS a little taste of his own medicine. But 1UP is feeling very confident and showing that they're confident. They're playing really well, really aggressive, and they're doing what we would have hoped to see earlier last map. But
that was the warm-up map.
Yeah, but now they're getting into the groove. Vitality's still a little scared. They're not playing aggressive. They're taking their time, and I know both teams are tactical teams. They take their time, but unfortunately, if one of these teams want to win, they have to do a more aggressive and take the initiative, which it looks like 1UP is doing, and Vitality's letting it happen.
Yeah, a situation where, like you said last map, the one time we saw the good aggression from Rips is exactly what won them the round that they hadn't been able to win previously, and that's what brought them the 5-3 victory. So we'd like to see a change up here. Revan going to be on that Vigil again, which was interesting last time. You were talking about they burned up a lot of time, did a great job, but the rest of the team couldn't follow that up. He's actually going to be playing a different spot here now that it's downstairs over in this corner, down in church.
Maybe use that as a bait.
I think it is. I think they're trying to make him think he's upstairs. Although laying prone is going to make you less so.
Yeah, they're wasting their time upstairs now looking for him. So, but as you can see, Vitality again, just trying to throw stuff at the ceiling and hope it sticks. 1UP is taking their time. Again, for a basement, you only need a couple of seconds, especially with the aggressive Ying plays that they've been doing. They're not worried, but they're taking a lot of time upstairs. That Revan play is scaring them right now. They're a little worried as to where he is.
Nonetheless, though, it's only 2 minutes in, and they have managed to take control of the top 2 floors. So yeah, maybe it burned an extra 30 seconds, but that isn't the kind of thing that helped win them the round last time, and it doesn't look like it will be this time. They're actually using breach charges on the floor, interestingly enough. And notice Para this time making a read and assuming they wouldn't be running a Pulse again, went with Ash instead of IQ. So it's like they're kind of making some tactical decisions as operators. And then getting that first panel open. Oh, Void finally getting a kill there with that C4 on the Veil. But they have the first panel open of Armory, so they can make a quick push, especially if Hungry starts throwing those Candelas down like he will in just a moment.
And the hatches are already open, so, it's not the worst thing. They still have Hungry up with these smokes, these Candelas. He's going to be able to provide some cover for his team, but doesn't look like there's anybody to drop down the hatch since the diffuser. Oh, he's going to be running into the B bomb site as the Ash hole has been opened up. Hungry's going to drop down with the Candela, but he's going to hit by an Ela charge. The diffuser is going down. The Legion coming into play, but Rips is going to get downed as Hungry gets C4'd by enemy. Para's going to try and make something happen as he picks up Revan. Rise is going to take down KS, but not looking pretty as Para gets taken down in the 1v4. And Vitality making things happen. They played a little bit more aggressive. They didn't let things happen, and they were able to get the bomb down. They were able to get beautiful C4s. I believe there was 2 in that round. And I think they're trying to switch up their playstyle for this.
I think that of all things, that C4 kill from Void actually is what turned it around, because what happened is then they forced Glaz to grab the diffuser. Glaz was supposed to be cover for the diffuser plant once the smokes and Candelas went down from Hungry upstairs, so that completely changed how they had to play that attack in a way that took a lot of their coverage out. So once they went for the plant, they just weren't able to stick it the same way despite that extra help from Hungry, not to mention Hungry dropping down into the Ela mine and then right into a Legion mine. He had to be pulling that out, so just trap meta mixed with C4 there was a great way to counter that, and well played by them, and actually taking a round back. Now you see some kills on the board. They were at 2 kills before, bringing it back pretty strong that round. However, we'll see if that's just kind of a one-off, or if that, now they have to play bar. So that's an unfortunate situation for them.
It's going to be a tough uphill battle for them.
It would have been better for them to win an attack round than a defensive round. That's
I was kind of confused on why they had their bomb or the diffuser holder go main stairs with their Glaz. I understand they made the Ash hole, and Ash was going to run in and go for a plant, but it really forced, I believe it was Rip on Glaz, to pick up the bomb and give up his great position to stop any push, and force him to push into the open outside of his smoke, where, I don't want to say Glaz is useless, but it's not his most comfortable situation. And Hungry tried to drop down, like you said, Ela Legion. He was no help at all, and the bomb, Rips was just able to get taken out from the dirt tunnel, and Para was on the other side dropping down in Moto. He couldn't contribute that much, although he got a kill, but he was just waiting and hoping to go for maybe a lurk play or a roam play.
Yeah, unfortunately, just circumstances happen in the middle of the round. You can't count on having all of your operators intact for a take. Hungry actually doing what we saw Revan doing, but he's doing it the way of staying on the stairs, so he looks like he's on all 3 floors here. So you really have no idea where he's at, and that's going to force them to do a lot of extra droning like you were talking about before. So love to see this Vigil counterplay. Unfortunately, that's going to give away a little bit much there as he takes those shots. He's going to have to find a better way to play that now.
Correct. Now, again, it's Clubhouse. I see in different metas, the top 2 floors are usually taken almost instantly in the first 30 seconds, and that's how you want to utilize, because most of your time is going to be spent on getting those hatches, holding down position, and opening up as much visibility as you can. And it's supposed to force the defending team to feel isolated and put in positions where they're not comfortable and not able to play, and you're able to pick them off in those situations. But as we're seeing in this game, both teams are taking so much time to get the top 2 floors. They haven't even got kitchen hatch. They're stalling out. Voi's just getting into the map. Something has to be going on. The Vigil has to be playing a part in this, unless their droning just isn't at par.
I think it's a combination of the two. I mean, obviously it comes down to the timing and the way that Hungary plays that. Well, that's going to force someone out of position there. Is that aggressive Rips down there trying to play again? Last time he did counter that well, and I feel like Voi's a little mad about what Rips did to him previously. But Rips knows how to play this position smart. And unfortunately for him, he didn't catch that drone and doesn't want to compromise his position to get it.
Yeah, I think Vitality is playing a little scared right now, especially Voi, like you said, in that position. He got gunned from there, so I don't know if he wants to play as aggressive as he did. But Rips feels confident. He feels confident. I don't know if they have this. I'm guessing they're using the Legion traps and Ela traps to play around it, so he knows when people are going to push him. He knows what's going on. But time is dwindling down. They haven't started to push yet, and Para is still upstairs. He can come down for an insane flank, and it looks like he's going to creep his way down the stairs as the enemy Vitality team isn't paying attention, but he is going to see someone at the moto hatch. He's going to take him down. That's enemy down. Buck is going to be looking the wrong way as he takes down Void 2. That's 2 for Para, getting the advantage in his favors team, and now time is stalling out. Vitality is at a loss for words. They don't know what to do. They don't even know where Para is. Oh no, as Risen just runs through, it looks like they're going to drop down and try and hope something happens. Panix picks up Veil with Chaos, is going to trade out Panix, but Risen is going to fall down and take down Chaos. Trades going back and forth. Revan knows that Rips is in that corner. He is going to get him down. Do they have Diffuser? Is Diffuser going down? Revan is going to get taken out, and Risen's going to have the bomb going down, but unfortunately for him, Hungry is going to come around the side and clean him up, getting the round for 1UP esports.
Nicely done by Para, that 2K early on. Got lucky with the Buck coming around, just not completely, just unsure how to fight that. Voice seems a little out of his place, like you said, a little scared already of the downstairs on Rips, and then having to deal with Para. Why did they not catch Para? Is it, you know, like I said, a combination of Vigil and them just not droning well? Maybe they just gave up and said, we're not going to find him, and didn't think about Para being up there too. Yeah,
I couldn't believe that he was still up there. I was thinking, surely after 2 minutes, they had to have checked the whole entire map. If they're spending that much time, what else could you be looking at? So much time wasted, and they didn't even find Para, who was able to, I don't want to say single-handedly won that team's round, but it was a huge impact. They stalled out. You saw they were so confused. They started running out of the map. They didn't know what was going on. They realized time. They all were split up. They did get some trades, but it wasn't able to happen.
And I was talking to some of the Rogue guys yesterday after the matches about Para just really struggling playing that Ela roam. But and they made it the point that, like, against EG, you're going to get droned out. It's just guaranteed you're not going to be able to roam. You're going to get heavily droned and pushed, and that might have been part of the reason why he was just getting killed constantly early on. But against a team like Vitality that doesn't seem to have the same level of drone game as EG does, it's clearly working much better, and I think Para probably feels a little more comfortable with his position now, given that.
Yeah, and KS is going to be on the Zofia, but Risen is prompting to take the Echo with his Roomba drone. Void is going to be on the Legion, and Rook is going to be coming out, so it's not a usual 5 that you tend to see, but a map like Clubhouse does benefit from ACOGs. I believe there's a spot on this map known as Canine Spot, where he loved to play Rook or Doc in the back armory spot, and he was unstoppable in that corner. I wonder if they're going to sit Panix in there to potentially get a couple kills. But again, both teams taking their time, and I pray that if Team Vitality can stay in this round, that their droning needs to get better.
Unfortunately for them, this is their defense round on bar, which is the last place you want to be on match point 4-1. There's a very good chance, just based off of that fact alone, that 1UP could take the sweep here and win this one 5-1 and go home or go forward with a nice 2-0 against Vitality. So Vitality's going to have to really play this smart and interesting. You see, for example, Enemy on this roam up here, hoping to be able to help hold this off, but they're going to be more expecting of a roam. I'm not sure if they're going to go for a stock take, but having Hungry there along with Rips is going to make that more possible. But Para does get found out. Nice kill by Voy there. That's definitely going to slow things down a little bit on the attack, as Para was one of the entry fraggers. However, they've still got the Glaz and the Ying, still plenty of room for this to happen. Also KS as well to do any kind of stuns to try and help push in here. I think if they could take out that Echo drone, this is going to be an easy take for them.
Yeah.
But if Echo does a good job, then maybe they could stall this out long enough.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have anybody playing in the stock room, which is something you don't want to particularly see, especially since they have the Glaz in that corner. KS is going to get a beautiful shot onto Panics, so that's the ACOG down. Echo does have one, but he's going to prompt to be on his drone as Vale gets taken down by enemy. That is their garage hold, so they won't know, but they have full utility of all the stock, as Voy is going to take down KS, and Rips is going to get a nice shot and trade onto Voy, leaving the advantage for the defenders, and they still have the Echo drone up. Smokes will be coming out. Hungry has a diffuser, but he's going to get shot down from Revan from the stock hallway, but Rips is inside. 1v3. He has been playing phenomenal, but Risen's still on that drone. They're going to spot him once the smoke comes down. He's going to get a shot. They do have a surrounding around him. There's no way he's going to be able to get a plant, especially with the Echo drone. 30 seconds on the clock. It's slowly ticking down. Rips is taking his time. I believe he's waiting for the Echo charge to wear off of him, and enemy's just going to jump up, clean him out, and that's Vitality showing a little light in this unfortunate series.
Yeah, and that's a big surprise there, just losing that so badly. I mean, I feel like they just weren't ready for the level of crossfires that were coming out. Yeah,
it didn't look like they were ready. I thought 1UP would have had the advantage, especially since they didn't have Vitality didn't have anybody in the stock. They did have the Echo drone, but 2 Glaz smokes block the stage. They're able to push in, shoot the drone afterwards, but before they were able to do it, they were sort of stalling out, which we're seeing a pattern. They're stalling out, waiting to the last couple of seconds, and Vitality made a play. They went for the early picks right away, right off the bat, so that they were able, to get an advantage and have some breathing room.
Well, now in a situation where 1UP have to defend the bar, this could be the chance Vitality needs to start to bring this back. If they can win the next 2 rounds in a row, we can see overtime, and maybe they're not out of it just yet after such a good win last round.
Correct. It's one of those situations that if Vitality wants a chance, they're going to need to bring it back here, and if they don't, and then they're going to lose. But, you know, both teams doing well. There's nobody struggling. 1UP is showing some potential, and I believe KS had 6 assists, so you're seeing that KS is showing off. You know, he doesn't need to get the kills. Legion is enough. He's getting the assists. He's helping his team. Even if it's a couple points of damage, it still helps in the long run. It's impactful, and KS, one of those players, since he's joined the team they've had success, but they've been playing out of their mind. He's one of those players that as soon as they join a team, he's impactful. That was someone who we were talking about, like Julio from Black Dragons, who does a similar kind of play style. It's really a unique characteristic for a teammate to have, and it usually happens through experience of playing at high levels and, you know, experience at LANs, experience with different teams.
Maybe it helps that they're an all-German team as well. We know language barriers are a big thing for EU teams, so joining an all-German team may allow him to be a lot more fluid than he was on a very mixed language team like Penta.
Especially, Val is going to get some hit points down. He's going to be sitting at 30 HP as Revan also gets a couple HP minuses from Val, them trading out. A minute's already gone down, and there hasn't been a push yet. They're trying to push into Strip Club, but again, they're taking their sweet time. Nobody's in a strip. Val is contesting it from the pool with Hungry, but they're not playing in it. They need to make a call and play aggressive. Now, 1UP is knowing that they can beat them with the utility. They did it in the previous rounds. They don't need to do anything drastic. Vitality needs to make a move now, and they need to take position as fast as they can, or they're going to hit themselves in the back for not doing it.
Yeah, and you've got Para on the roam there, hoping to catch them off guard like he had previous rounds. We saw them kind of stall out last time on this push. You see Void doing kind of the same thing. If they stall out like they did last time and can't decide where to attack, they're going to be in a situation where that attack is going to get stunted yet again. You see Para creeping up. No Claymore is there to stop him from doing this, as you often see when they're attacking from the bottom. But this is a case where Para has a very good advantage in terms of angle. Revan already low on health is going to be a problem. So far, this is really stalling out. A minute left, though. More than enough time for them to make this push happen here as enemy starts throwing things out right into the middle of bar. That does bait out a smoke, which may have just been his goal. Just bait out the smoke, try and take the pre-fires onto the stairs. As Panic comes around, he's going to run into Para in just a few seconds here as they're both going for the same cash room. Void does get a nice shot there onto Vale, so good use of his glass. Now this rotate hole being opened up is going to give away his position, but unfortunately for Para and for Panics, neither of them can get the shots they need, and Para just cannot land them trying to set up that rotate flank, and actually Panics gets away with no health lost. Now the push starting to come in as best as it can, but they actually might have to go for a door push here. Another smoke has gone out. Barbed wire sitting there by the door. Panic's going around for a nice crossfire. Perfectly executed.
Beautiful.
Slaughtering everyone inside the bar. It is all down to Chaos on this as Legion to try and drops one. That's the diffuser down at least. That's going to be a little bit of a delay, but they easily pick that back up on Voy. He may drop it to have someone else pick it up, but he's going to set up a little rotate angle. Doesn't get that last kill. Actually, no, does get it in the last second. Unfortunately for him, not nearly enough. And that is, as we were saying, maybe a chance for Vitality to come back in this.
Correct, and that's what they needed. Panic stepping up, making that great play. Now that's something that 1UP was dominating in, where they had Hungry flanking on the previous map. This map, I believe he's still doing the same on attack. That flank is so crucial, especially for a map where if you go for one push or the other, you're going to be looking one way and your back's going to be isolated. Unfortunately for 1UP, Para was taken out by Panics. He kind of got damaged, and then Para opened up a little impact hole for Panics to take that kill. Unfortunately for him, he whiffed the beginning, but he then claimed it. Then he came back, shot 2 people in the back, got his team. I want to say it was an impactful round. That's the reason they won that round.
Easy MVP for Panics that round.
Also, great play for them. Great call for them trying to go door, especially stalling as much as they could for Panics to get those 2 kills.
And that is definitely going to turn things around here. 1UP still with a lot more frags going into this and 1 round up. But Vitality seem to have found their stride, and that's going to put a little chink in 1UP's confidence, which is the important thing here. You take their confidence down a little bit, and that's going to make some less clean shots. That's going to impact rips, for example. I would imagine if you start losing confidence, you don't have that glass shot confidence. You need to make those quick kills.
Correct. Now, looking at the scoreboard, if you saw Vale has 1 kill in a great series like this, now you might be thinking, well, if he has 1 kill, he's probably not doing good. But as a support player that he is, he's performed really well in the previous match when he was able to play more aggressive. Now he's playing super hard support, mirror Habana, and not to say he's doing very well in his ability, because he doesn't need to get killed. He needs to drone and open up hatches and stay alive. That's what he needs to do. So the least amount of situations where he's put into a gunfight, the better, especially on this map. So, if anything, I think he is a big reason on why their team is doing so well.
Yeah, interesting call too, and Para going back to the IQ and Revan going back to the Pulse. It was a nice read that we're talking about. He didn't do that earlier, and now he did it this time. It seems like he kind of knows when Revan's going to be pulling that out. I wonder if we're going to see some more floor bangs with that pistol.
It was a good call, too, because they also brought Valkyrie, and they also have the Ella Legion, so it's going to be a good counter to them.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of work to do if he could not die early. That'll be a big help for his team. He's already doing some of that utility right here. This is a great map for him because he has a lot of chance to get a lot of map control and be able to do things with that information. He knows exactly where Pulse is, sees that C4 and calls out for it.
Yeah, but Revan here going to be scanning them. He knows where they are. Again, in the previous map, Revan wasn't able to make sufficient calls. I don't know if he's nervous. He wasn't able to feel confident in his play style. But Para knows exactly where he is. Revan knows exactly where Para is and the rest of his team. Revan needs to make a call, follow them, and try and get an understanding of what push they're going to be doing. Para is really utilizing his scanner to keep track of Pulse, and you know, I was just about to say he's not paying attention to the other abilities at play, but now he's going to be shooting some Legion traps, which have been put in place to stop their push. So good on them, but you know, Revan's still able to scan them. He needs to make a call that they're not going for a blue or that they're going to be doing a default push into Armory, which they have been doing.
Now, Revan's being smart in that he's actually staying out of the areas where he's exposed to Parrot because he knows that's coming. He's playing more on the church side, trying to play less in Arsenal since that was his big weakness before. So I like the adaptation. Enemy, interestingly, playing in the tunnel, which is usually a smoke position, but they actually have no smokes to help counter any kind of smoke push here, which is actually a big detriment for them. They're going to have to try and frag it out or hope that some Legion traps are going to do something to stop him. Looks like enemy comes out at just the wrong time to get blinded. Plant going down. KS falls to Rise. but Vale is sticking the diffuser plant thanks to the Candela support from Hungry upstairs. Rise, though, going for a nice flank around, is going to try and get one, does get one. Rips takes down another one. Revan trades it back onto Vale, and then Hungry gets Rise, so that is that flank stopped. 2v3, but the diffuser has been planted, so either team could win this. Unfortunately for them, they are going to stop that. Revan gets a nice knife kill, and they are supporting that, and they actually managed to stick the defuse.
Good job for Vitality.
Nicely done, and they are bringing it back to overtime here. Now the question is, who's going to get what side first? These guys look a little excited.
You can see they're hyped. Their coach is absolutely, he's a motivational person.
Yeah, he looks like he's just, yeah.
He's hyped. I feel like that's what they need. They were a little shy. They weren't comfortable in their skin. Now they're getting kills. They're feeling good. Unfortunately for 1UP, they didn't have holes in the floor. Hungry was trying to open up as much as he could so he could look through the floor, shoot to the who's on the diffuser. Unfortunately for him, his gun isn't the best at opening up floors. Has a lot of bullets, but isn't the best.
Yeah, not a lot of buck play from 1UP altogether here, and that might have cost them a little bit in terms of setting that up. Looks like we're going to see 1UP on attack yet again. First, of going to have to attack the downstairs, so we're going to see a potential repeat of what we saw last round.
Yeah, we could. Now, KS, Hungry, Para, all dropping 7 kills. You know, usually you would see Hungry and Para doing the best, but KS being so flexible and comfortable on all these operators is able to take a fragging role, which he's been given, and also operated a great deal. Rips is also doing insanely well, and the assist all throughout the board is beautiful. They're all helping out, they're all doing well, and it's one of those games where everyone has a part, and it's not kills aren't the anything that matters. It's teamwork that's going to win them this map on Clubhouse.
You can see the hype. I almost just see it in like the way enemies moving. They're just feeling hyped now to try and like actually bring this back in their favor. Being down into a 4-1 situation and coming back from that is definitely motivational. It's like a clutch in score form.
Yeah, they're for sure feeling confident. But Para doing an aggressive play. He's going to be running down, doing Ash things. I don't know if they're going to be suspecting it. If he peeks right now, oh no, but he is going to give his position away. Fortunately for them, they're going to know fall back. The mirror is going to come into play, and he won't be able to, aggress as much. But that Ash charge doing huge damage to Revan and Void. And now that's your pulse, that's your mirror down a bit. They could go for a church push and successfully take it just because of that Ash charge doing huge damage.
Yeah, I like that it opened up the wall next to that too, making that mirror window actually less effective. They were hoping to use that as a soft wall they could shoot through. And then Para, of course, droning to get the position of the mirror. Now they've got a better idea. Now Para is going to know how to attack this. They know the pulse is playing over there as well, so that's actually going to really help out. They're going to have a lot of important positioning, but they've got to act fast, capitalize on it. Unfortunately for them, not doing any damage to that second Ash breach charge, but that clears out any utility there. And Rise is just right on top of it with that nice kill from the back of Church. I don't think they had any idea he was playing that position. Panic's also playing in blue with the wall open, gives him a lot of line of sight. Now Rips is coming down though, so now the kills could start cracking. Nice attempt by Para to kind of soften things up a little bit, and did do a pretty good job of that. Unfortunately for Rips, no one exposing themselves just yet, so he's going to actually pull back, let Hungry do Hungry things as he starts to really crack this open. Gets one kill, going to get another, and he's going to be set up to go get a third one. There's 2 people in blue now trying to push through that wall as Vale goes to stick the plant. He's actually going to be able to get away with it thanks to Hungry's help. Rips gets 1 kill. Probably going to get at least another, but there's only 2 left. Panics and Void on Team Vitality. They're going to have to try and make this clutch against some heavy firepower. There goes Hungry, taking down Void. It's all on Panics. This is looking like this round's going to go heavily in the favor, although he is going to quickly take down Hungry with that nice Legion. And unfortunately for him, he couldn't run through that hole. Having to duck through it, just put his head right into the crosshairs of Vale.
Vale going to be picking it up. Beautiful play from Hungry. He blinded everyone, got 2 kills, got a nice third one at the end. I thought it was a little scarce for 1UP losing their entry, but Hungry showing that he can do it all on his own. Unfortunately for Vitality, they were very limited in their movement. I was going to say, 1UP played very well, but they weren't using as much room as possible as they could. They didn't have anybody in blue. They really relied on that church push, which was a good call for them to do since, the previous army pushes weren't working. But they really relied on that to work. Thank God Hungry was there to follow up. Great individual play from him. He's sitting pretty at 10-4, and he's doing really well as the main entry Ying player. And that's something we've been seeing a lot of, that Ying has been doing great in this lineup, man.
He's very aggressive on it too, and I think that helps because sometimes you can use it as more of a support role. He almost uses it as more of an entry fragging role, as you just saw in Church. But I got to give credit to teamwork on that round because you had Para. Yeah, he didn't get a lot of kills or anything, but opening up that wall at the moment that he didn't, getting a little bit of early aggression, kind of set them back and forced them into a position where they were kind of really getting defensive positions. But what happened in between that time and Hungry attacking was a lot of drone work, so that once Hungry pushed into that Church, he knew exactly where everyone was at and able to capitalize on that, and that's why that push worked so well.
It's a great push. And Vitality, you know, clawing at this W. They want it so bad. They, as everyone knows, we're the community vote. A lot of people, they are, you know, I would say a fan favorite. They haven't, you know, performed as well as they've been doing on their in their Pro League matches against the other teams, like in the qualifier. But they're showing some light in the rounds that they are winning. So they're going to need to find a key characteristic that's been winning them the rounds if they want to get these next 2 rounds for the win on this map and take it to a map 3.
And like you said before, I think that comes down to that aggression, knowing when to have the aggression and when to play defensive is really the key to them actually winning this. For both teams, it seems to be exactly what happens when those pushes come to shoves, and whether or not they actually capitalize them on it or they just take that slow and steady approach that seems to be struggling for, just maybe these teams are too similar in that sense. And because of that, one team has to kind of create some asymmetry in order for that to work.
Correct. Completely agree.
This could be 1 round away from 1UP taking it home, or we could see 2 more rounds depending on whether or not Vitality can crack. They haven't been super effective on attacking the basement of 1UP. However, they have succeeded, I believe, at least once. So there's definitely a possibility this could happen again. They do have Voy on that buck. I would like to see a little more effectiveness from Voy on that buck in order to make this work. I feel like if he can stick this and he can get maybe even a kill from above or just better grenade usage, I think we could see him really like actually help his team push in there.
Yeah, he's been coming a little bit more out of his shell. Now, it's something that you are seeing, like you were saying, a super passive. 1UP has been showing some more aggressive traits, but again, Voy getting taken out by Para. He hasn't been doing well on the buck play. He needs to realize after the first time, you know, I'll give him a slip. After the second time, maybe. But after the 3rd, 4th, he's got to start doing something else. He can't buck and stand right on top of his bucks and expect someone not to be looking up at him. And that's going to be the advantage for 1UP. And 1UP playing aggressive, playing exactly what playing what they need to be doing for this win. And, you know, Vitality is kind of stalling out again. It's something that they're not doing. They're not playing as aggressive as they should be to even out, get a trade. They're just letting it happen, and they're taking their time.
In a situation where they've opened up quite a bit of that Church wall as well, thanks to Hibana tearing up some of that Mira window. So they actually had an advantage for a second there in doing maybe what Hungry did last time, but they just weren't ready to execute on it. And losing Voy early didn't help that because that was someone that could have an angle from above there to make that push work. We got Rips here playing back in blue, is actually going to be not blinded. Enemy not able to actually push in just yet, trying to do what Hungry did, but unable to do so with Hungry actually already countering it. Unfortunately, there is Hungry getting taken down from behind. Vale getting picked up as well. KS wiped off the board. Rips, though, trying to bring it back in a 2v2. This could definitely still have 12 seconds left. Para and Rips going to try and find some kind of angle into Church that's going to allow them to get the kill. They do almost get it. Diffuser is getting stuck here. It does get planted. Now they're in a tight situation as both players are known on their positions, and the flanks are starting to come out. The bait there from Para is real with the pistol, and there's a nice finish by Rips. That's going to take it. This is going to go to 1UP for the win today. Unfortunate for Vitality. They are going home, but, well, not till the end. I guess they still get to watch the next 4 days and think about what they did wrong.
1UP played very strong in that matchup, especially that last round. Now, Vitality, you got to give them credit. They fought back. They did everything they could. Their backs were against the wall. They almost brought it back, but Rips doing insane on that Jaeger. Again, the aggressive plays, he felt a lot more confident in that. You can see the 1UP boys, you know, it's a win for them, and they're excited to have that, you know, rematch or potential play against. Now, in the scoreboard, Hungry going huge again on that Ying play. It's something that you gotta